And tonight, Pangea is very pleased to present Compa.
Thank you all so much. I am happy to be here, not to be alive. Okay. Can we all agree? Two different feelings. Thank you. Yeah. Now, listen, if I have to be alive, I am so happy that I get to do it here. This is truly a privilege. Thank you. Yes. And if you are happy to be alive, no judgment. Okay? I am happy for you, and I want you to know that, all right? I just don't relate to your experience. And I know why, all right? I know what's happening. It's because I keep repeating the same behavior, anticipating a different result, right? Never a good idea. And the behavior that I am referring to is I wake up every day and I pick up my phone and I look at the news every day. Yeah, and it is not working out for me, all right? Puts me in a bad mood 100% of the time. So I know why it's happening, but am I gonna stop? No. Because I am an incurable optimist. Thank you. And I am just holding out hope for that one good news story. And if you think about it, you probably know the news story. That I mean, okay? If you don't, I will give you a hint. It hasn't happened yet. And I probably should not be talking about it in public, okay? But living on the edge, you know? In case I'm making anybody uncomfortable or upset, bring that up here. I want you to know I was talking about something else. Prove that I wasn't. You can't. All right? Now, I do talk like that a little more than I should, all right? And I had one of my guy friends pull me aside, and by the time I'm done up here, you're going to be like, she has guy friends? But I do, several, okay? And one of them pulled me aside and he was like, listen, Katie, I'm really worried about you. I think you might get yourself into trouble with the things that you say. And then he added, you're kind of a mouthy broad. I was like, okay, accurate, but ouch, you know, like. Anyway, he was like, look, I would just feel more comfortable if you would agree to start carrying something on you for protection. You know, something like a knife. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't even know where to begin here, but first of all, I am so flattered that you think that I need to speak to be in danger. Okay. I also would like to talk through the plan a little bit with you because you want me to carry a knife for protection in the United States? Like, the country that has a saying about bringing a knife to a gunfight? If anyone is not familiar with that saying, the saying is don't, okay? Because it is not going to help you, you know? Also, even if you could use a knife as a viable form of defense, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to handle a knife. Never learned, right? And I know enough about weapons to know that if you cannot handle the weapon that you're carrying, 9 times out of 10, what is going to happen? It's going to get used against you. And that is not going to be my story, okay? So absolutely not. But I did get a little worried because I was like, you know, I don't even really have any good, like, real self-defense skills. Like, my entire history with self-defense is 2 main things, okay? I have an ex-boyfriend who is a kickboxing instructor, and I did learn some things from him, but no weapons. It was all punching and kicking, okay? Which, now I regret that, right? And then, secondly, I took a semester of Taekwondo in high school for my gym credit. Yes, I am a yellow belt, thank you. And, here's the thing, though. I told that teacher every week that I had my period and could not go to class. And he let me get away with that a solid portion of the time, you know? And this is another thing where I can take personal responsibility for that, all right? Yes, I wanted to skip class. I got what I wanted, right? He let me get away with it. But I think that him letting me get away with it is a little bit of a systemic failure, you know? And I think that because I read this story in the news. This was like 5-6 years ago. I think it was before the pandemic. It happened in Rio de Janeiro. Okay, this guy tried to mug this lady on the street. All right, but what he didn't know was that this lady was a championship-level MMA fighter. Yeah, he picked the wrong one. Okay, because she beat his ass and put him in the hospital. And yeah, if you have not familiarized yourself with this story, I recommend looking it up. There are photos. All right, very invigorating. Honestly, extremely fun. And I remember when this happened, I was like, oh my God, we did it. We finally found the solution. We are just going to start building women out of MMA fighter. Perfect. That way, no matter which one of us you pick, it is the wrong one, you know? Sadly, I have not seen my vision come to fruition because I keep meeting these children that are 5 and 6 years old and cannot beat me up. Disappointing, you know? If anybody here is raising children and they are like between 5 and 8 and they are not killing machines, I'm judging your parenting, okay? That's it. Do I have standing to do that? No, I don't have my own kids. Am I going to let that stop me? Also no, because I am right, all right? And you know what? While I'm up here, this isn't even about raising kids, okay? This is about the PR for the kids, all right? Now, I am very blessed to have a number of friends who have beautiful families that they are rightly proud of, you know? And I love every year getting holiday cards from them, all right? And if you are among those people who can send holiday cards, I am so in awe of your executive function, okay? There is no possible way, but I love getting them, okay? So if you are one of those people and you send holiday cards, I just have one request. Please include at least one photo of yourself on the holiday card. Because every year, I am inundated with 15 to 20 cards featuring photos of children I have never met, do not care for, and in some cases, actively dislike, all right? Not gonna name any names, they're minors, but we'll call them Grayson and Riley because most of them are named Grayson or Riley. So, anyway. I am finally in a new era of my life, all right? I am in my mid-40s now, and people have stopped. Thank you. This means that people have stopped trying to talk me into having kids before it's too late, which is, I am so relieved. It has been just incredible. It got really intense at the end there, okay? Like, one of my friends, and I want to be fair to her, she was not trying to talk me into having kids, okay? That was absolutely, but she did that thing where she's like, let me tell you why I had kids. And I was like, all right, remember when I did this with you, but it was about therapy? Did it work? Actually, yes. Okay, but that was me. I am very persuasive. You cannot just use my thing on me and have it. Okay, please. Anyway. So she told me why she had kids. And I know that sometimes comics will embellish things that people say to them to make them funnier or more emotionally true or what have you. And I think there is a time and a place for that, but this is not it. I want you to know this is exactly what she said to me. And by the way, mouthy broad, also real, okay? So she goes, she has 2 kids, and she goes, I had the first one so that I would have someone to take care of me when I'm old. Look, honestly, just refreshing to hear somebody say it out loud for once, you know? I don't mind that. But then she said, and then I had the second one in case the first one didn't want to take care of me. Yeah. I was like, what are you going to do to the first one? Like, harvest her organs? I mean, probably, you know, but anyway, she did not think that was very funny. So she was like, well, have you thought about it? Have you thought about who's going to take care of you when you're old? And I was like, yeah, actually I have. And I think it's probably going to be the same AI-powered robots that your children purchase to take care of you. Yeah, thank you. I am just cutting out the middleman, you know? And I would do that anyway, even if I did have kids. That doesn't mean they get to pick out my robot. Are you kidding? That is the most consequential decision of my geriatric adult life. And I'm gonna need to have 100% control over the budget and all of the options. I already know which one I want, right? It is the Ryan Gosling model with a couple of extra attachments, okay? And those extra attachments are vacuum cleaners. Thank you so much. He is gonna be doing so much housework, okay? Because I find that to be a real turn on, okay? So I actually think it's good that I don't have my own kids, you know, but from what I understand, the Project 2025 plan for me and women in my situation is to round us up and force us to babysit, okay? Which, it could be worse, all right? Because first of all, somebody needs to protect these kids from all these pedophiles that we keep electing and elevating into positions of power. Thank you. And I'm a pretty good choice for that because I am pretty scary, all right? And once I get some knife skills, I'm gonna be unstoppable, so let's go, you know? But also, just on a personal level, like, kids and I really vibe in a way that I don't with a lot of adults, you know? Like, I'll walk into a room and the kid is like, you're immature. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I have an action figure of myself. And somehow this 5-year-old was able to clock that before his mom even knew I was standing here. It is amazing, right? It is nice, like I said, being in this new era of my life where people are not trying to talk me into having kids. Okay, although some of my mom friends are not taking it that great. You know, because listen, I've been single in my mid 40s with no kids since I was like 21, 22. You know, so I am extremely familiar with the discourse. And one thing that the discourse has always had in common is that 40 was always the cutoff, right? That's when it happens, right? That's Katie. If you do not settle down, find a man, and have a baby by the time you turn 40, you are going to regret it for the rest of your life. Oh my God. Oh my God, when did the stakes get so high, right? But listen, the future is here now. I am, as I said, in my mid-40s. I don't have kids, right? And I don't think it helps. If I could get serious for a second, I don't think it helps anybody if I stand up here and I make light of something that is very serious, right? If I'm not honest about what my life is like. I know there might be people here going through the same choices, questions, struggles that I went through, right? So I'm going to stand up here and I'm going to admit to all of you that it has been incredibly difficult for all of my friends who did that. Wow. Yeah. They hate witnessing my lifestyle, okay? I was talking to one of my mom friends. At the end of last year, I went to Paris with a friend of mine, and she was like, "Oh, really, girl? You're going to Paris? Again? Weren't you just there?" And I was like, "Oh, mais oui, ma biche," okay? It appears that you and I are both living with the consequences of our choices. And the consequences of your choices have a soccer tournament on Saturday. So you cannot come to Paris, all right? I would have invited you, but I happen to know that you were not free because you are going to be driving, okay? Followed by looking for parking on grass, challenging. I don't know if anybody's and then locating the correct soccer field to bring your children and orange slices to. That all takes minimum 2.5 hours, and they have not played soccer yet, okay? Do you think that I don't know how this works? I have done multiple ride-alongs to the soccer tournaments, all right? But with all that said, please tell Grayson and Riley that I said good luck out there. Auntie Katie is rooting for them, all right? I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast for anybody. Okay, I know it's a problem. I'm working on it, all right? It's not going to go anywhere. I've been working on it. One reason I wanted to do an album is that you can listen to an album at 3/4 speed, which is what I recommend. It's honestly the best listening speed for me, right? But I am making a concerted effort to talk a little bit slower because people keep asking me for cocaine. And I don't have any, okay? I actually have never touched cocaine because I am a member of the DARE generation. And yeah, Officer Farrell was the coolest guy any of us had ever met. It was combination drug education propaganda. He was awesome, all right? And with that said, though, I will admit I get really excited when I go to a party and somebody else has cocaine. Because I know that me and that person are going to handle so much business. We're going to start like 3 or 4 new companies, come up with at least 2 product prototypes. Yeah, it's going to be amazing for about 12 to 15 minutes. Okay. Because that is when they have to go back into the powder room for more cocaine. And I have to leave. Because bathroom access is extremely important to me having a good time anywhere. All right. Anyway, I hope you're having a good time. I really appreciate everybody coming out. All right, thank you. It really means a lot that you're here because I am not famous. And it's been a journey, all right? Because I certainly thought when I started comedy that I was going to be famous or I would quit, right? Because what is the point of doing stand-up if it is not fame and fortune? I don't know either, okay? I do not claim to have the answers. I will say at the end of the night, I will have spent about an hour up here complaining and you all have to clap at the end. So that, pretty alluring, you know? But I'm very, very lucky to have supportive friends who really root for me and they want to see me win, right? And they've been very supportive of my comedy career, but I don't really think they quite understand why I'm still doing it, you know, because I'm not famous. And it comes up every once in a while. Like a couple months ago, there was one of the awards shows. I don't remember which one it was, but one of my friends was like, "Oh, you're going to watch the awards show tonight? The red carpet's on soon." And I was like, "Oh, no, I don't really watch awards shows." She goes, "Oh, is it because watching people get rewarded for their creative work makes you feel bad about..." I know. I was like, oh, wow, I do not remember promoting you to somebody who can talk to me like that, okay? Whatever I did, it is rescinded. Check your email. You have been demoted, all right? And that is not why. First of all, I am delusional, all right? I think my career is going incredible. Thank you. But also, the other reason I don't watch this is like, I've been doing this long enough that I have friends who have to go to those events, right? They have to go to those events, the Emmys, the Grammys, the Oscars, because those are work parties. And I don't do that, all right? Like, I can barely tolerate my own work parties for my marketing job, and I actually like my coworkers. But the idea of going over to somebody else's house to tune into a third party's work party on television is absolutely unhinged. Are you kidding me? If I am tuning into the Oscars, what is stopping me from going out to the local Honda dealership banquet and clapping for their achievements, you know? It's gonna be equally relevant to my life, if not more. I drive cars occasionally, okay? So, like, everybody, please give it up for Brian Martinez for best use of new car smell in a sentence. He did it, yes. And I am happy for Brian. 4th nomination, 1st win. He really deserved it, right? He was Hillside Honda's own Susan Lucci, right? It's very important to me that young people don't find this album accessible. So, and again, I am so lucky to have supportive friends, but I feel like they don't always know how to support me, you know? Like they're like, Katie, when are you gonna stop doing stand-up for fun? When are you gonna get serious about this? When are you gonna go all in on stand-up? And I'm like, okay, I am not doing that. After these shows, I'm going home to smoke a joint, watch a show, go to sleep, right? Thank you. That is what I call an aspirational lifestyle. It's just funny because my friends do not have that smoke for our other friend, Jenny. Nobody's like, hey, Jenny, when are you going to go all in on crochet? Like, you know? Jenny just likes to crochet. Isn't that nice for her? Did you know that you can do things because you like them? Like, I don't need Jenny to become an Etsy power seller for me to respect her craft. I'm just happy to get a scarf every once in a while. She makes beautiful stuff. I think probably everybody here knows that if I really want to make a name for myself in comedy, like, I'm supposed to crack social media, right? I'm supposed to post a bunch of content, get a viral post, and I am not doing that because I don't like social media, all right? I don't like what it's done to us. I don't like what it's done to me personally. Because of social media, I have parasocial relationships with some of my own friends. Rude. I also have parasocial relationships with several capybaras and 2 pygmy hippos, which I am less upset about, but that's not the point, all right? The directive is always like, you gotta make content. You gotta make as much content as possible, right? So you can appeal to different audience segments across platforms. And then you can connect with your fan base. And I'm like, oh my God, I am so relieved that I do not have to worry about that because my entire fan base has my phone number, okay? And the rest are what? Related to me, yes. My sister is president of my fan club, okay? It is a fully volunteer position, yes. But also extremely low stress. There's not a lot to do. And she has a kid now, so we have 2 employees. I am in my mid-40s, and I'm told that I'm doing okay in the looks department, which is very nice to hear. Thank you, yes, thanks. Make no mistake, I am a terrible person. So shallow, extremely vain. All right, if you have compliments for me, I will be standing in the back accepting them after the show. But I will say that as I've gotten older, those compliments have started to come in a little bit backhanded, right? And I do not appreciate that. Like, I was talking to this girl, and I shouldn't call her a girl. She is going to be 40. Okay, but I'm older, and I have internalized misogyny. So I was talking to this girl. And this was back around my birthday, which is already a very sensitive time of year for me, okay? Because I have a January birthday. Any other Capricorns? Like, it's a blower, right? And, the earlier in January it is, the more likely somebody's coming through, but taking stock of the year and making resolutions, and it's going to be different in whatever the year. Please get out of my face with that. And I also have not had a birthday since I turned 21 without somebody rolling in like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm doing Sober January. And then they wait for me to congratulate them, and I don't, right? Because like, I'm sorry, did you just show up to my birthday party seeking attention and validation for something that you did? Because that's counter to the mission. I don't think you understand what we're doing here. Seltzer's over there, knock yourself out, okay? My problem is not with the not drinking, okay? I don't have a problem with people doing Sober January, right? A lot of people who do Sober January should think about extending it to the rest of the year, you know? It's just, why are you making it a thing at my birthday party? Do I do that to you? Do I come to your birthday party in April and blow up your bathroom in honor of IBS Awareness Month? No. And I could, all right? I want to be very clear. So, anyway. I was talking to this girl, right? And she's like, oh my God, you're turning how old? And I tell her, and she's like, wow, that is incredible. You look amazing for your age. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. I'm not even mad that she qualified the statement, honestly. That's just not how I would have chosen to qualify it because, like, you all can see me, okay? I did a lot of work tonight. I have on makeup. I washed my hair, curled it. I did not wake up like this, all right? But the important thing is you can see me. I look my age, all right? And I am okay with that. Completely fine. I don't need to look amazing for my age because I look amazing for a white woman. Thank you. That is a different compliment, all right? And it is one that means much more to me, so I would like to thank myself for giving it to me. Try to do it whenever possible, you know? I'm happy to be aging well, you know, because I think you're probably aware that a lot of my demographic ages like kale in a damp bag. I don't know if anybody has watched that process. It is not appetizing, nor is it attractive, and we are real mad about it, okay? You can tell by all the stuff that we do to try to make it stop. Like, I am now in the prime target market for Botox, right? And I get served Botox ads all day. I have a lot of friends who do Botox. If you do Botox, I am not coming for you. I'm okay with that, all right? I totally understand. The world is what it is, right? There's a lot of pressure on everybody to look a certain way, stay a certain age for as long as possible. Age discrimination is real, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're in entertainment. All that is very real, all right? But I have an equally real passion for alienating myself from the rest of my peer group. So I am going to continue talking smack about Botox. Please join me on this journey. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. So I was talking to one of my friends. She lives in LA. Not her fault. Okay. I have taken my real forehead to Los Angeles. It is stressful. So, not judging her for that. But she was like, you know, it may surprise you to know that I did not start doing Botox because I thought it made me look younger. And I was like, oh, good. Which I'm not trying to be shady to her. I honestly didn't even notice that she had gotten it. I just thought she looked really well rested, you know, but I just, 9 times out of 10 when I see somebody, like a friend acquaintance or somebody that got Botox, very rarely am I like, oh my God, she looks so young. And much more often I'm like, she has Botox money? Excuse me. What is her job? Is she a girl boss? Because how does she have that much disposable income? I don't understand how this happened. I cannot make that math add up for myself, all right? Because I live in New York City, right? It's one of the most expensive cities in the world. And at some point, I would like to save enough money to afford to buy a place to live. And I do not know how I'm going to accomplish that if I am also maintaining a bi-quarterly lease on my forehead, you know? Again, I am not opposed to getting work done on my, like, I actually have a whole list of things that I would like to do to my face, right? But none of them are rentals. They are investments. It's going to be something that builds a little equity. And I also am not doing it while there's a wage gap. All right, that's just a principled stand that I'm willing to take. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm fine if somebody else pays for it, but I think you can all tell that with this personality, there's probably not a sugar daddy waiting in the wings to come and help me with my renovation, So anyway, she was like, I didn't get it because I thought it made me look younger. I got it because I thought that I looked mad all the time. And I was like, oh, okay, that is different. Here is the thing about that. I am mad all the time. This is my favorite thing to do. I am having an amazing time. And I am furious, all right? I will be going to bed tonight, spitting venom, waking up tomorrow in a murderous rage. Thank you. It's called a personal brand, okay? Get on board. Now, if I could just speak to the white women for a few moments, all right? I think that we can all admit that jealousy over the way that aging affects us versus how it affects other groups of people may be to blame for a lot of our bad behavior, right? And in this country, I would put that number around 53%. If you know what I mean, and if you're not picking up on it, I will just tell you that I think ENVY spells Karen. Is everybody okay? Did I trigger anybody? Okay. Sometimes I know that some of my sisters can get a little upset when I drop the K-bomb, okay? And it's another time that, I got pulled aside for this one too, okay? One of my friends was like, you know what, Katie? I have a friend named Karen, and she's nice, okay? She doesn't deserve this. She doesn't deserve to be stereotyped everywhere she goes just because her name is Karen. And I was like, okay. Not all Karens, first of all. Okay, I'm totally willing. But also, look at me. I look like this, and my name is Katie. Do you think that I am not out here catching strays? I am, because I know how I present. A couple of small styling tweaks, and I could stand in the middle of Mar-a-Lago. And then be like, oh my God, Kimberly, and just fade into the background. They're never catching who did it, right? You gotta be aware of how you present. Like, I share a genetic mutation with these women, right? And I know I gotta watch it, because sometimes that Karen pops out, right? Like, it's not always under my control. I'll tell you how I know. This was a few years ago. I went to England on a Euro trip. At the time, it was part of Europe. Okay, so I took a red-eye flight, and then I was staying with a friend. She had to work that day. I was like, no problem. I'll show myself around town. Not a big deal, right? So I show myself around town, and then it's time to go meet her back at her office. So I pull my phone out of my pocket. A guy rides by on a bike, snatches the phone, takes off. He's gone. Yeah. I never saw that phone again, right? So I have to find my way back to my friend's office. And then the next day, we have to go to the police station to file a report. And I remember trying to just gather myself to go into the police station and just convey what a bummer it was to be on the first day of an international trip and have like my lifeline to the outside world just stolen out of my hand. Like, it was a bummer, it really hurt. But what ended up coming out was, somebody stole my iPhone. Officer, somebody stole my iPhone, and now I am in Europe for a month with no iPhone. What am I supposed to do? Ask a stranger for directions? I don't think so. This is a crime. You need to do something. And then I was like, who said that? Oh my God. What a bitch. Like, does anybody here feel sympathy for that person? Me neither, all right? And that was when I learned. I was like, all right, I'm going to watch it from now on. And it really has only come up one other time, which was when I bought some stuff from a company that is named after a rainforest. Okay? I don't shop with them anymore because the days of that man making $10 every time I leave my home are over. Thank you. Yeah. I wish that it were a principled stand based on that. It is not. Okay. Sadly, it's petty, all right, because I had ordered some stuff and the stuff didn't show up. And this is New York City. That happens occasionally, right? Packages get lost, they get stolen. Normally, you email the company and they send you a replacement. That is not what happened this time because I emailed the company and they wrote back, no, we cannot send you a replacement. You have to go to the police station and file a report for a stolen package. And I was like, oh, no. let me just confess that it was podcast equipment, okay? Like, comics all go through the phase. I have 2 defunct podcasts that you can listen to, all right? So, you really want me, a white woman named Katie, to walk into the 113th NYPD precinct to be like, somebody stole my podcast equipment. Officer, somebody stole my podcast equipment, and now I have to record a podcast with no mic stands. You can't silence me. This is a crime. You need to do something. Thank you. I was able to resist. I did not do it. All right. So I don't have a boyfriend. And it's kind of like part of my identity at this point. Especially like a lot of my friends here have never seen me with a boyfriend because even my last semi-serious relationship was long distance, right? And we were together for like a year and change, and he lived in Sweden, so I was going to Sweden several times over that stretch, but he didn't come visit me in the States one single time. I know, okay. And my friends who love me very much and want me to be happy started to ask some very astute questions. Questions like, so, girl, is he imaginary? You can tell us if he is. We are not going to judge you. Okay? We are saying it behind your back. But out of love and concern, okay? And actually, I appreciate that they did that for me, all right? I'm not mad at them at all because I'm like, I think gossip is an unrecognized love language, right? And I'm like, oh my God, you kept my name in your mouth. That is so sweet. Wow. But at the time, I was extremely defensive. So I was like, oh my God, no, he is not imaginary. He just can't visit me in this country because he has a criminal record and it's illegal. And then I ran that back and I was like, oh, that hella sounds imaginary. You guys. All right. You are out here making some real points, all right? But here is the thing. It's true, all right? He is a real person, a real felon who really could not visit me. And that is not what I expected to happen, all right? I thought that we were going to have a one-night stand at a wedding and then move on with our lives and never speak again like normal people, all right? But that is not what happened because somebody did a little bit too good of a job at the one-night stand. So, yeah. He was younger, he was not ready, okay? So, he followed up with me after the wedding and he was like, listen, I can't visit you in your country because I have a criminal record and it's illegal. And I was like, say that again. I know some people would consider that a red flag, but to me it looked very beige, okay? So, but then he was like, so how about if you and I go to Thailand? We're gonna stay on an island, population 1,500. The only way to get there is to take a boat to another boat. And then you wade ashore with your things. We're staying in a shack with no hot water, and there is not a single ATM on the whole island. You have to, if you are bringing money, you have to bring all the money with you from the mainland. Otherwise, you have to get back on the boat to get more money. And I was like, sir, pump the brakes, okay? Because first of all, you are a stranger, okay? I don't know you. I have questions like, what is your middle name? What is your last name? You know, are you a Scorpio? Because it's important to know for an international trip. But also, I know what happens to women who go to Thailand with white men they do not know. And it is not good. And if you don't know, you have 2 options for your research. You can watch Bridget Jones 2, The Edge of Reason, if you like a more comedic bent. Or if you want a drama, you can watch Broke Down Palace with Claire Danes and Kate Beckinsale. Correct, yes. It does not matter which one you pick. They have the same plot, okay? Here is what happens with these white guys in Thailand. Okay, they seduce you, right? They make you think they're falling in love with you. And then at the end of your Thailand trip, you are leaving Thailand to embark on your new life together, right? And surprise, bitch, he's a drug dealer, okay? So he is going to sail on through with a huge drug payload, while meanwhile, you are going to get popped for possession for the drugs that he planted in your suitcase. And you are going to go to Thai women's prison for the rest of your life, because that is the law, right? So with all that in mind, when do you want to go? Because look, it has been a little while this time, and it had been a little while before that, okay? So I was willing to gamble, okay? I made it, all right? Nothing happened in Thailand, actually. Like, we had a nice time. Kind of boring, right? But the most important thing that happened in Thailand is when we left, we were like, oh, no. We're in a relationship. Oh, God. Oh, nobody wanted that. So romantic, so inconvenient. But I knew that he had not gone to prison yet because there was a certain date that he had to... Oh, I forgot to tell you what he did. Okay, so... It was illegal, not wrong. I think that's an important distinction, okay? Now, he got busted growing weed in Sweden, which is a huge deal over there. I know it's extremely off-brand, but they are a bunch of narcs over there. It is crazy. They think that weed and heroin are the same thing, all right? If somebody smokes a lot of weed, they're like, that's a junkie. I'm like, excuse, what did you call me? Like, they have an army of social workers that have been deployed to deal with the cannabis crisis in Sweden, which does not exist except for how they don't have any cannabis. That's a crisis. Because honestly, better access to cannabis would probably help with the... You know what? I'm going to stay out of it. This is not my country. So anyway, so I knew that we would have to break up when he went to prison, right? Because I was like, obviously, we can't stay together while he's in prison, right? Like, I cannot... They won't let you video chat prison. Like, I cannot text nudes to prison. The infrastructure is not there for us to continue this relationship. So I can relax, right? And then I was like, we're gonna have to break up. It's fine. I'll talk to him about it. He's gonna get it, right? And then we were on the phone, and I was getting ready to bring it up, and he said, I will write you letters from prison. Yeah, and I was like, oh, recalculating. Okay. We are not breaking up. Because I am getting love letters from Swedish prison. Oh, that is happening. Yeah. If you ever come to my apartment, I will force you to look at them. Mostly for the stamps. Okay, they're very cool. So now this whole thing sounds a lot more romantic and tragic if you don't know anything about the Swedish prison system, okay? Because I didn't know anything about it. And like on that same phone call, he told me that he had just gotten the packing list of items that he is allowed to bring to prison, which you are allowed to bring items to prison. And one of those items was his guitar. Yeah, I was like, a guitar? Like, a guitar? That is a murder weapon, right? The strings alone, I can't believe you're allowed to bring that. But even if you're just going to use it as a guitar, it seems a little rude to your cellmate. To be like perfecting your rendition of Blowin' in the Wind, you know? Not to mention your neighbors on the block. But it turns out I was the one who was wrong. I was misinformed. Okay, it turns out that in Swedish prison, you don't even have a cellmate, right? Yeah, you get your own room, okay? Yes, it has walls. It has a door that locks. It has a television. It has a microwave. I don't know what he's doing with the microwave because they were also getting 3 catered meals a day. I have letters about smoked salmon, all right? And I promise you they are not eating that at Rikers, all right? And I realized that I have crossed the line from funny into interesting, and I'm so sorry, okay? This whole thing turned me into an ardent prison reform activist, okay? So let me try to get us back on track. Letter number 1 said, please send nudes. And as I said, I cannot text nudes to Swedish prison, but I sent nudes. I printed out and mailed to Sweden. Thank you. Thank you. Via airmail. Hard copy nudes for him to hang up in his cell. Thank you so much. They do not give out medals for best girlfriend, but if they did, I'm pretty sure I would have several. So the first month he was there, he took math class. They will teach you math in prison because they want you to have skills when you get out. That's not like here, right? Second month, he got bored of math and he decided to switch to woodshop. Also not like here because this is not like, you know, in the US you're working for cents on the dollar making like license plates. You know, no, this is not where IKEA furniture comes from, okay? We can all relax. Ironically, a lot of it comes from Thailand, but I don't really know what to do with that, you know, so. Anyway, after month 2, he went home. Because his entire sentence was 2 months, all right? And it was not a little bit of weed, but the Swedish legal system, that's the way it works. First offense is always a lenient sentence, right? Which is great, but I'm also like, so you went to camp. Like, you learned a trade, I guess that's cool, but you know, I understand it wasn't literally camp like there were psychopaths there, right? But I am fairly certain there was at least one psychopath at my camp, so I don't think it's that different, you know? Anyway, at the end of this, he got to go home and give the table and chairs that he had made in woodshop to his niece like he had spent that time being a carpenter's apprentice, which is not what happened. And to this day, she has no idea that he went to prison, okay? Because it is not public record over there. Your employer can't find out. And if you keep a clean record for 10 years, it just gets expunged. So, I know. So to my knowledge, the only people that even know that he went to prison are his parents and me. And now all of you. Because he does not know that I have been talking about it on stage in my stand-up, or that I am putting it on an album that will be streamed ideally worldwide. And when he finds out, he is probably going to be pretty mad. And, I get that. I have thought about it from his perspective. I totally understand that. And I think there is only one form of revenge that makes any sense, which is that obviously my nudes are going to get leaked. Right? Again, I've had time to process this, and I can't wait. Oh my God, okay? Yeah. Do you know, I was very much in my prime, and I never sent a bad one. I was extremely picky about my selects, okay? I can't wait to see the portfolio. Perhaps I will turn it into a coffee table book for merch, I bring this up because I think every American right now, because of what's happening here, has some semblance of a backup plan, like at least an idea of a backup plan of what you're going to do, right? And mine was always, I'm going to move to Sweden. But I can't now because I can't stay with him. He's going to be so mad at me, right? So now it is move to Sweden, commit a crime, right? And then almost immediately commit another crime, because 2 months, not really enough time for me to establish myself as the queen bee of the women's prison, all right? Because we are going to have an incredible time. It's going to be the best sleepover party in Scandinavia, if not Europe, if not the world. I am leaving that place with an equal number of lifelong friends and new hairstyles, including the midsummer braid. Okay, it's going to be a win-win for everybody. Thank you. Okay, we're coming into the home stretch now, and I don't want this to be over, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at the news. I don't want to do it. I am trying to find, I turned off my alerts. All right, I'm doing my best to find healthy ways to engage with the news. I think my best shot is I'm going to look for those stories that I can be obsessed with, that I can get super into the details, find out everything about, but that do not affect me or anyone that I know or love. And those are hard to come by, right? And sometimes they try to manufacture them. Remember when Katy Perry went to space? That got shoved down my throat for a week and a half. And I was like, please, I don't care if a bunch of rich girls want to take a free ride to space. That's fine, okay? But please do not breathe the word feminism near me while you do it. I don't know if it was in the press release or what, but I saw it in so many articles that was like, Blue Origin's all-female spaceflight crew represents a milestone for gender equality in space tourism. Was anyone here concerned about gender inequality in space tourism? Were we feeling shut out of that on the basis of gender? No. Personally, I would like to see a little motion on the gender equality on the ground before we start exporting to the stars, Can we get abortions on Blue Origin? You might have my attention, but from what I read, you only get 11 minutes up there, and that frankly sounds messy, okay? But doesn't mean I'm opposed to it. We, at this time, still have scientists that I think could work that out. I think we should follow it up. That's not the kind of story I mean. The story I mean, it's organic, right? Okay, we had one actually not too long ago. You probably all remember this. It was worldwide. The couple that got busted cheating at the Coldplay concert. Yes, I know! Oh my God. That was 3 days of crack cocaine, right? I saw news coverage from Malaysia about it. Several languages. I happened to go to Germany the next week, and the Germans were bringing it up to me. Everyone knew. And I was just like, this story has everything. I don't care about a single person in it. It's like, wait. So the CEO was cheating with the head of HR, who was also cheating. And it's an AI company. And this went down at a Coldplay concert. Okay, this is incredible. And then somehow Gwyneth Paltrow got involved, and I had to tap out because that's a bingo, right? But it was nice because, before that, I think the last story that we had like that was when Kate Middleton was missing. Do you remember that? Yeah. I will say, for that one, it was a couple months long, so we really got to squeeze the juice out of it. That was satisfying for me. She is back and giving us nothing, so wah. But I do have one story that has really, it's wearing the crown, all right? It is my favorite of this kind of story. And it's actually having a moment right now because there are 3 documentaries about it on 3 different streaming services. And I mean, of course, the OceanGate Titan submersible. Yes! If anybody doesn't remember this, I am going to talk you through it. If you do remember it, I am also going to talk you through it because they say not to speak ill of the dead, but I love talking shit about these dead guys, okay? It is my favorite thing to do. So although it is over for my immortal soul, I hope to bring some of you with me on my way down. So picture it. Father's Day weekend, 2023. 5 super rich guys get into a Coke can. Driven by an Xbox controller. That is not a joke. It was driven by a literal Xbox controller. Yes, girl, yes. 6 figures to get into this Coke can. And I don't know if anybody saw any footage of this thing. Like, I'm not getting into it on land, okay? There's no door. They have to bolt you in from the front. I'm told that there is a toilet at the other end. I do not need to know any more about that. Thank you so much. And then you can't stand up in it. So it's just you and 4 other grown adults sitting crisscross applesauce. My leg fell asleep just thinking about it. Because that trip takes 10 to 12 hours. Well, it would have taken 10 to 12 hours. This one was a little bit shorter, all right? And I even can see thinking that it would be a cool thing to do, right? Because there was a window in the Coke can, right? At one end of it, it had like a viewport. It was like the size of a washing machine, the front of a washing machine, you know? So that's good. You are going to see the Titanic, and that's cool, but it's really like 6 figures to be like scooching around and like switching places and trying to get your turn in front of the window. Like 6 figures for that? You know, like from what I saw, I'm pretty sure I could have a very similar experience if I loaded up a little footage of the Titanic on my iPad and put it in my microwave. And I could stand up the whole time. There is a bathroom down the hall. And it would be free 99, okay? I just think billionaire money rots your brain and you forget about all the cool shit you can do up here, right? Now, these guys did perish at the bottom of the ocean when their submersible imploded under intense water pressure, which is arguably sad, right? I didn't say that I argued that. I actually don't know anyone personally who did, but it was argued in places. So anyway, I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, oh my God, have you seen any of the submersible documentaries? They are amazing. And she was like, oh my God, that's right, the submersible. Wow, that is crazy. I completely forgot about the submersible. And I was like, you forgot about the submersible? Okay, that is crazy. Because I masturbate to the submersible. Thank you. It's all right. I never stopped, okay? The submersible has actually risen into the top rankings of my spank bank, which difficult to do. I am extremely loyal to the men that I have never slept with, all right? At the top of the rankings, I am going to take you through the rankings, obviously. Yeah. Top of the rankings is a gentleman named Morris Chestnut. Thank you. If you don't know who that is, what? And you're welcome, all right? And after that, we have Mr. Josh Hartnett from 1998's The Faculty. Yes, thank you. He has done other projects, but The Faculty is what got him in there, so that's the reference that we're going with. Then after him, we got Daniel Day Kim, who was on some late episodes of 90210. Don't remember a ton about the episodes, but I remember him, okay? And then a few years ago, there was a shakeup, right? And I had to dismiss Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt for reasons, all right? And I am not sorry, but because of the timing, that is how the submersible swam up into 4th place, right? And then it was joined by another late entry, the guy who plays Reacher. I don't know if anybody watches that show. It's pretty good, yeah. He's like a big, if you haven't seen it, he's like a big Navy SEAL guy, right? And that was a real surprise to me because he's not even my type. Yeah. I don't even like guys. So as I was saying, it's been a long time since I've been seen with a guy, all right? And some of my friends are starting to worry, but not all of them, okay? One of them got really excited. She was like, Katie, she's queer, and she was like, Katie, are you a member of the community? You know that it's LGBTQIA. Are you A? Are you ace? And I was like, oh my God. Thank you so much for the support, bitch. That means the world, okay? But no, I am not asexual. I am an incel. That is different. And it is not what the I stands for in LGBTQIA. And let me tell you, I wish it was, all right? I would like to apply for membership in the community because I certainly feel like I've been out here fighting this battle on my own, all right? And so I want to redefine that I in LGBTQIA. I also want to redefine the word incel because incel, I'm an incel. Incel is short for involuntary celibate, right? And that is my case. Like I just have a minimum taste level that is not being met, okay? When I hear straight guys refer to themselves as incels, I'm like, are you kidding me? Just based on the bargain basement men that I see my friends going on dates with and often sleeping with and marrying. If you cannot start a conversation with a woman, that is your active choice, all right? I don't know why I'm involved. That bar is low, okay? And I will say that's probably my fault. I haven't lowered the bar enough, in my 20s and 30s. And now I'm in my 40s, my back hurts, and I can't reach it anymore. So here we are, stuck, Some people are surprised when I tell them that I identify as an incel. And let me tell you, who else is surprised? Me, all right? I definitely thought in my younger years that at this point in my life, I would be getting railed 4 to 5 times a week by my husband, Josh Hartnett, okay? And that is, he, as you can see, is nowhere to be found, okay? And I am pretty sure he is happily railing somebody else. I'm happy for whoever that is. I've made it a point not to get too far into people's personal business. It's not none of my business. It's just like, what am I supposed to do? Sleep with a different guy? Not voluntarily, And my friends are always trying to help, hook me up. They're trying to help me with this problem that they think I have. So one of my friends is like, Katie, I have a guy from work that I want to introduce you to. Okay, you are going to love him, okay, but I'm not going to make it weird. Okay, I know you don't like that. So we have a work function on Wednesday night. So just come meet us at the function, right? And I'll just introduce you real quick and then we can go to dinner. Okay, it's not going to be weird. I was like, okay, I appreciate that. Wednesday though, Wednesday's bad. I have a conflict, okay? And I will tell you what the conflict is. The conflict actually exists right now. The conflict is that there is a 24-hour Murder, She Wrote channel on your television right now. We could all be at home watching Murder, She Wrote. What are we doing? If anyone here has not sat through the 12 seasons of perfection that are Murder, She Wrote, thank you. I recommend investing the time, okay? They are not making them like that anymore. We used to have shows. Not like the content that we get served today, Every episode of that show had the budget of a feature film, okay? The guest stars are bonkers. You're like, is that Mr. Miyagi? And yes, bitch, it is Miyagi. They got Miyagi. This is not a drill. Also, did you know that in the 80s, they just used to let ugly people be on television? And we were all better off for it. I mean, it is remarkable, and I promise you, you will remark. I remark all the time, oh my God, that guy must have nailed the audition. But I think he did. I think that's what happened. I think in the 80s, there were 2 billion fewer people. Not everybody wanted to be in entertainment. You could make it on talent. If you could deliver a line, they would let you make it on talent. You didn't have to be related to anybody on the production. You got to keep your real teeth, You don't see a lot of that anymore. I think they are still doing it in England, but they seem to be phasing it out, which is perhaps for the best. And don't think that I'm not keeping track of who in Hollywood still has their real teeth, because I am. I'm like, what's up, Patricia Arquette? Yes, queen. That's right. When you have all those awards, they don't make you get veneers, Steve Buscemi, entire career based totally off that girl. Yeah, it's perfect. I'm not saying, And then, of course, Cynthia Nixon. Guest star on Murder, She Wrote. Look it up. Full circle. Now, I actually am jealous of people who get to watch Murder, She Wrote for the first time, so I hope you do if you haven't seen it. Because it's always a rewatch for me because my grandmother lived with us when I was growing up, and she would watch it, so I would watch it with her, right? And I remember being a kid and being like, I may be young, but I totally get this show, all right? It's about this nice lady, Jessica Fletcher. Okay, she writes murder mysteries, and she also solves murder mysteries, and that is not a conflict of interest. We are going to keep it moving, all right? There's no show if nobody gets murdered, nothing for her to do if she doesn't solve it, so get over it, right? But When I grew up and I started watching, I was like, oh my God, I had this show totally backwards. Wow. Jessica Fletcher, not a nice lady. Okay. Jessica Fletcher is a nosy, celibate know-it-all. And I feel seen and validated. Thank you. In a way that I have not by any network show in my entire life. So I would like to take my hat off to Dame Angela Lansbury. I hope she is resting in peace. Okay. Now, if any men here feel like I am attacking you personally, I am not. Okay. I don't hate men. Some of my best friends weaponize their incompetence. Okay. It's truly nothing personal. But I will say it's more okay. So I'm friends with some couples, right? And they actually do the opposite of weaponizing their incompetence when I'm over. Like sometimes my friend will be like, he is doing all of the dishes and he never does this. I don't know why he's acting like this. And I'm like, oh, I do. It's because I am standing in his kitchen. And he knows that 2 words from me can ruin his entire weekend. He thinks he's going to watch football with his buddies on Sunday? Oh, no. 2 words from me and he will be deep cleaning the basement talking about your feelings. Right? And the 2 words have become something of a catchphrase. Now, I am in a number of group chats, not to brag, okay? And I sent the following enough times in my group chats because it just kept being relevant that it became a catchphrase. And the catchphrase is, he sucks. You would not believe how useful it is, okay? Like, oh, your boyfriend forgot your anniversary? Well, guess what? He sucks. Your boss interrupted you in a meeting? Jared Leto? He sucks the most, right? He's the worst one. So I had started sending he sucks so many times that I started to get like carpal tunnel syndrome, right? And for shorthand, I started sending a screenshot of he sucks to the group chats, and eventually one of the group chats had the screenshot put on a sweatshirt for me. They made me merch that says he sucks. I have never been so touched by a gift in my life. I know, and I had to be talked out of wearing it tonight, okay? I really, truly think it is perfect for any occasion. Bachelorette parties. If you're offended, that's on you. I could be talking about anybody, technically. Right? Divorce parties. You can wear it to a protest against somebody and then to that same person's funeral. Will I be doing it? I admit nothing, and I'm probably not invited to the funeral, so it's kind of a non-issue. Again, I am not mad at men. I am absolutely open to the concept that there are nice guys out there that I can meet one. We might fall in love, right? And spend the rest of our lives together. I don't know. I don't know the future, right? And my friends have very much latched onto that. Wow. They're like, okay, Katie, yes, let's say that you met a guy. Oh my God, yeah, okay, let's say you meet a guy, all right, and let's not worry about where you're gonna meet him or who he is or if he exists, okay? Let's say that you met a guy, okay, and it's going well, and you are ready to have him come spend the night in your apartment. I was like, whoa, what? I'm ready to have him do what in my where? Excuse me. In my apartment? My home is sacred. Do you think that sage grows on trees? It does not. It grows in bushes, okay? A little botany lesson for you, but the point is it's expensive. And then to get it to do its thing, you have to literally light it on fire. So no, I am not scenario planning for imaginary men coming to my apartment, okay? What I am doing is putting into effect a strict set of rules that I have for which straight men are permitted to enter my apartment, and that is not a long list. It's like my super and 2 guys that work for him, okay? For very good reason. When I was in college, I studied psychology, right? And we had to take a required course called criminal psych. And we did an entire unit on serial killers. And I did all of the reading, very unlike me. I got an A on that test, okay? But I've literally done the research, and I am here to tell you, serial killers, I'm their type. Ooh, yeah. I'm up here wearing pants. Having opinions, right? I read books. I'm a woman. I'm breathing. I could keep going, but honestly, their bar is very low. It's not hard to get on the list. And I understand it might not be the smartest idea to stand up here talking in front of a large group of people about being serial killed, right? I don't know all of you that well, and wrong person hears this, and that's my ass, all right? So I understand the risk that I am posing to my own personal safety. I get it. So in case I am tempting anyone to getting into the serial killing game here tonight, through the power of my personality, I want you to know, first of all, I get it. I am so annoying. Oh my God, I feel the same way. Okay. But I am begging you, please do not begin your serial killing career with me. And that is not out of any kind of instinct for survival or self-preservation. I don't even have that. If it was over for me tomorrow, I'd be like, wow, what a relief, like. Obviously, serial killed, not my first choice, right? I would probably go for something like bird flu or natural disaster, my own stupidity, which are very much all on the table, right? But this is out of concern for you, because if you think that killing me sounds like an amazing time, you might be right, okay? But first of all, I'm not an intro level kill, so good luck. I'm a fighter, right? But if you are successful, I promise you, you are going to spend the rest of your life chasing that high. Never to be recaptured, all right? You will have a basement full of bodies 30 years from now and be like, damn, I wish I could kill her again. Well, don't say that I didn't warn you, all right? Because I just did. I'm always going to be the one that didn't get away. So, thank you. And again, all right, I know that some men are going to walk out of here thinking that I am mad at all men, and some of my friends think that, right? If any men in here are salty, I want you to know my friends have your back, not mine, all right? They're like, Katie, this is so unfair. You can't just paint all men with a broad brush. It's not all men. And I was like, oh my God, what are you talking about, all men? I told you before, Morris Chestnut. Josh Hartnett. Daniel Day Kim, guest star on Murder, She Wrote. The Submersible, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. Count them, okay? And because they were compressed to such a small size at the bottom of the ocean when their vehicle imploded, I am fairly certain I could fit all 5 inside me at the same time. Thank you. And that, my friends, is technically a gangbang. So don't tell me that I have written off all men. That's not fair. You didn't say they had to be alive at the beginning of the exercise. Okay. Right. That is it for me. I'm Katie Compa. Thank you so much. Good night.